You can see on the other camera there that traffic has been like that basically all morning into the afternoon, leaving on I-26. That, of course, is going westbound. That has been backed up a lot right around the Somerville area. I know a lot of people have been stuck in traffic, but South Carolina Highway Patrol has begun to close down and begin reversal.
The guy I work with, he said he used to work with Moran.
Heed the advice of police officers that they are in fact only implementing what they are required to do, that these are not their personal orders in any way, that they are trying to hope and will be. And heard the mayor of Charleston telling people to go and take advantage of the sandbags that are available at the Milford Street area that is under the overpass of I-26 at the King Street extension. You can go there and get sandbags, and also there are some other locations in the city of Charleston. So again, everyone emphasizing the importance of doing things early.
The buses are full of people. Where are they taking them?
Garage there, all free parking. So you can take your car and get it out of possible damage. You can park it in the parking garage, which is very helpful for a lot of people on the downtown peninsula.
And of course, we want to find out the very latest on this storm's track. We're going to go over to the Low Country's chief meteorologist, Rob Fallon. Rob, what's the latest on Hurricane Matthew?
Well, the winds are still 120 in our 2 o'clock update, still moving to the northwest at 12. And what you heard in the verbiage from our leaders was track dependent. And I think those two words are really coming to play here the next couple of days, because depending on the track is really going to determine what kind of impacts we see from this. We know it's a storm as it continues to move to the northwest. There's Andros and then New Providence, where Nassau is right there. So it's moving through the Bahamas as we speak, setting its sights on the east coast of Florida. 120 mile per hour winds, that's a Category 3 hurricane moving northwest at 12. This is of the 2 o'clock intermediate advisory. We'll get another full pack from the Hurricane Center coming up. And the hurricane models are really in agreement, taking towards Florida. And then this bend is what we've got to keep an eye on, because that's going to be very important in what kind of impacts we see from this. Let me show you a little close-up of this as it makes this turn. I almost liken it to a big tractor trailer. They really can't make a sharp turn. They have to kind of do a gradual turn. So as it does this gradual turn, then obviously it will come very close, according to this track, to the South Carolina coast. This is the point, 8 o'clock on Saturday, 31.5 north latitude, 80.0 west longitude. Charleston is roughly 80 degrees longitude and about 33 latitude. So generally that point is about roughly 100 miles to our south as it makes that bend. That will come into play greatly in terms of whether we do see hurricane force winds along the coast or tropical storm force winds. This is a rendition now, our future radar, and we've overlaid our wind particle product on this. As we stop at Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, you can see the center is offshore, but already really feeling the impacts across the southern tip of Florida. Now we're going to stop at Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock, east of Jacksonville, roughly. The center will be in this forecast, but already you can see the winds coming in from the offshore waters, also all of that rain. But now what's most important to us, we'll move it up to Friday night, 11 o'clock. The center of the storm south of Charleston, but already the winds will really be picking up. The rain will be picking up as well. And then probably the closest approach will be Saturday morning, where the
We're in the red and orange. We're on the edge. We're in the red.
And with that onshore wind flow, that's why storm surge and some inundation is one of our big concerns right now. Now, the probability that we will see tropical storm force winds of at least 39 miles an hour, have increased just a little bit. You can see this area here, and I've got another graphic to kind of detail that. So this is the 70 to 80%.
Where are we at on this one? In the orange?
Yeah. Tropical storm force winds, and that really encompasses our beach communities all the way back towards Mount Pleasant, James Island as well, and then it kind of tapers off as you go back to the west. But still, even in upper Dorchester County and Berkeley County, you are looking at a 50 to 60% probability of tropical storm force winds. Now remember the term track dependent. Now if the storm does get closer to us, then the chance of hurricane force winds will increase. Right now, you're generally looking at about 10 to 20, even 30% probability. This far out, that's actually a high probability, so we've got to watch that number as well. So basically, here are your impacts. Tropical storm force winds likely, hurricane possible, as we mentioned, depending on the track, how close it gets to the coast. Meanwhile, several inches of rain. Flooding is certainly a real possibility. We're looking at maybe 5 to 10 inches. Could be spread out over 2 or 3 days or so. Tidal flooding, erosion, moderate to significant, and again, surf hazards. That's where the biggest issues will be with the rip currents and the high breakers. So obviously, not the time to be out in the water. So kind of breaking it down that way. We'll have a brand new update at 5 o'clock, but that's the best information we have right now. The bend is going to be very important. The models seem to be kind of locking in on that bend. The quicker it makes that turn, the less likely we will see some of these potentially, dangerous situations.
That's good news, but don't be fooled by it either, Rob. It's what we were talking about
Right.
earlier. Just because it's going that way doesn't mean it's not coming to us first.
So when you look at the actual storm, the tropical storm force winds extend out well over 100 miles from the center. The hurricane force winds roughly 40, 50 miles out from the center. So if it comes within 40 or 50 miles of you, you're going to see those hurricane force winds. And when it's off the coast, it could be a Category 2, maybe a Category 3 hurricane. But when we talk about the winds of 120 miles an hour, those are really wrapped in around the center of the storm. So it has to come really that close to you within 40 or 50 miles to feel that. But the tropical storm force winds, you could be 120, 130 miles away from the center and feel that. And a constant pounding of tropical storm force winds with the rainfall that we're expecting certainly could create some issues.
And those are force of winds that
Yes.
could create significant damage. And I think when people hear hurricane force winds and tropical storm, they might become a bit more relaxed and kind of dismiss that, well, that means that it's less significant, but
Right.
this is significant damage that these kinds of winds could cause.
Let me put it into perspective. When a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, it's issued for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is potentially the winds of 58 miles per hour or greater. So when you're looking at a roughly 60-mile-an-hour wind, which is not a hurricane force wind, it can do tremendous damage when those storms come rolling on through. So it doesn't have to be 74 or greater to do substantial damage in the area. And I think you heard the tone of our leaders really, obviously, as we all are, taking this very seriously.
All right. Rob, we, of course, will have more information coming up and our update that starts at 3 o'clock. But right now, we want to show you some of the pictures we are seeing live right now. This is the evacuation process that's happening I-26 westbound, and we should also remind you that the rolling I-26 eastbound closing of those lanes for the
They
lane.
did.